long nap, so I might be doing a little bit of yawning while putting this together. We got 11 by 14 piece of paper, and hopefully make a pretty picture on it. So 11 by 14 Stonehenge Aqua. It's going to be an imaginary landscape, and wasn't sure what I was going to paint just yet. I'd taken a nap and woke up and debated, do I put together an oils or a watercolor? Settled on watercolor, so I'm filming. I haven't figured out how I want to set up a camera for whenever I film oils. And once I started putting things together, and I've been rearranging some furniture in the house, I'd put this storage bin right to the side, and that kind of really choked off my my palette right there. And I realized it was also time to start adjusting this art table. And I had some sketches that I had put together, and this top one jumped out at me, so I think I'll just make something up along the lines in this vein, or a background element, foreground, and then try to get a path through it. I don't know how true I'm going to hold to this, but that's what I have in mind as I'm getting started. So I'm just wetting my paper, wet the whole thing. That's going to let the paper start stretching a little bit, and just pushing my binder clips. I'm not sure what palette scheme I had wanted to go with colors, but I'm thinking that I'm going to start off with what I had done last time, what I used last time, which was the triad of Indigo, the the brown matter, and the Quin gold. So, unfortunately, I got to get this palette set up, so I'm going to do that while the paper is working. I'm trying to think of other ways to also rearrange my my desk and the colors. I had originally had out what I use on just my standard palette, and then of course, other paints start making their way into that, and it just becomes a mess once again. What would probably be nice, and I don't think I'd be able to do it because of the easel, the tripod for filming, a kind of just like a box to pull out drawers, and either have like triads in them, or groups of colors, or there's probably a whole bunch of different ways you can organize that. So anyway, so far we found the 2 paints. We got one more to go. Excuse me. And I might move away from this triad near the end, or at least going to start off with this and just have fun. But we'll see what direction the painting itself just starts going in. What I might start doing also is just having fun, and well, not today, but start doing like little sketching videos, because this is obviously not like a finalized drawing or anything like that, but that was most likely Australian rose or black swan and Australian rose It's a Noodler's ink, and I really enjoy fountain pen inks and the Flex fountain pens, and they're really fun to draw with, so doing a video on something like that down the line would be great. Anywho, let's make sure everything's still going good. We've got everything right up. Let's start off with our wash. That's Quin Gold. Now I'm going to bring it in, and I think I'm going to do what's very common amongst a few of the art groups that I'm in, is to do the wet and wet. Pull it in, leave just a bright source of light. So we'll get things started. In the wet and wet, everything will diffuse quite nicely. I think with this palette you can replace the Quin Gold with raw sienna. However, it won't be as vibrant. Well, kind of like a raw sienna version of this palette that I would use would be raw sienna, burnt sienna, and either ultramarine or a Payne's gray. Something like that. So we're going to bring that there. Let's get a little bit of indigo. Just want kind of more of a dark. And I'm kind of mixing it with the brown matter because I really don't want it to be too green. I just want a little bit of a framing device. Let this all come in. Distant. One thing you can do with wet and wet is if you super saturate the paper, dry off your brush, pass it along one of the edges where if it's pooling up, you could soak up a lot of that. Now, I'm still kind of just, I guess, diddling around, just taking things a little slow. Okay. So my paper's still wet, still pretty super wet. Let's mix purple and establish a little bit more just random stuff on that horizon line. Okay. While things are wet, you can also start, and I don't know if this is the approach that most people take, but I put my darks in at this point, like where my shadows or the base of objects would be, and I want that pathway to come through. I had a pathway in the drawing. I can see right off the bat this leads right off the page, so I'm going to cut back in. So that's a shape that I've used before. So kind of an S-shaped composition. So we have a little bit of... All right, so things are wet. I got distracted. I had to go take care of something. So I'm gonna mix a dark and what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna then, in the wet and wet, bring up some formations, shapes. Now this is going to hopefully dry even lighter than it is, and it should. One thing I'll probably always talk about in these videos is a drying shift that takes place. How as watercolor dries, it's going to get lighter, and whatever palette you're working with, you'll get used to the colors on it and how much it dries. Like a big drastic one is Payne's gray, or blacks in general. There's like darks and blacks, they're going to have a huge drying shift. And the reason being, with watercolors and whatnot, just think about it this way. If you go outside and you look at blacktop or cement and it rains, it's going to look darker when it's wet, and then obviously when it dries it looks lighter. So that's a color shift taking place. And light, as it passes through, it gets refracted because of the water and whatnot, and refraction will change the way things look in darkness and whatnot. Anywho, so we got that. Then you can do this with the Hake or the regular, it really doesn't matter. Just taking that same dark, which I'm going to mix a little bit more of. Okay, so some background elements, just dabbing that in. Bring some of those trunks up. Really no rhyme or reason with that. Darken a little bit. And we'll darken right here. So the path, this is the grass on the other side, the sides of the path. Here and here. Let's get a little bit of indigo. Now we're going to use, and as we go wet into wet, you want to strengthen your concentration of paint to water so that you don't get the run backs or anything like that, or cauliflowering. Let's put it right here, 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 here. Up. accentuate some of those parts. Then it's going to come back through here. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of that brown matter and make our pathway there. Okay, it might be about time that we actually have to dry it off. So the wet stage, if you decide to use that style of painting, it's really fun. You can really push it far and see what takes place with it. And then we're going to dry it off. We might put a little bit more defined elements in, but we're definitely going to put the tree structure and a couple walking. So, So everything dry as it is. We will come right here. That's the first. The second. Then I'll put a split there. We'll come across here. concentration. Sorry, I was just doing a lot of thinking with the planning out right there. The nice thing about the rigger is that you can kind of do calligraphy type strokes with it and make some very interesting things taking place. All right. These guys are all going to cast a shadow, so we're going to have to darken this. Then so the couple walking. I'm going to put in right here. Now, I'm just going to put them in right now just to kind of save that space. So I'm using the rigger. Usually I'll put those people in at the very end. So I'm going to have to make it more dynamic, because that one's kind of just sitting in there. Let's see. The shadows that they cast. What I'm doing right now is just taking mostly water just to kind of liven things up on this path. This guy came here, passes back behind. This one's leaning. Just putting this in, getting some variety, getting some different textures going on. Use the tip of the brush, use the side of the brush. Then we're going to need some foliage. Then we might even do some splattering. This guy is just a little too, I don't know, what's the word, vertical, just stagnant. A little more indigo. This is kind of near the end stages of the painting, and just piecing together a little bit of stuff. Let's have some stuff come up right here. Get my indigo. Get a little variety of the darks. Oh, sorry, variety with the foliage, like the darks within it. And I think that, I said we're going to do some loose splattering, so let's do that. So a bit more variety. I think what I might need is just another dang vertical line, though that might cut off within my field of my mat. Do some verticals. That might help set that back and change it up. Now to splatter, I find that I don't do the best splattering with the Hake. I need the round brush for that, and I am looking for one. There you go, here's a big round brush. Get it wet. Get your paint on it. Now, the quantity of water that you have will affect the size of the droplets. I'm not an expert with this, but it's definitely something you want to play around with and experiment with. I'm getting some fine misting. Let's see, let's get some quinacridone on. Now, let's see. I'm doing the Quin gold, and I probably pronounced it 20 million different ways today. And you can see the nice variation between the darks, the splatter, and these. Getting really just nice fine mist. I'm not sure how it shows up in the video. I mean, I'm using my phone to videotape this. By the way, I guess that's a shameless plug. If you're watching this, you know, please like, subscribe, comment, follow. Check out my other sites listed below, and you know, feel free to follow along, experiment, and have fun. Okay, so dry it off, and that's that. All right, have a great day.